Elon Musk just made this post about Tesla's breakthroughs. Tesla has done so much that would be considered AI research breakthroughs, but we are laser focused on making it work rather than crowing about breakthroughs. Having a large fleet is only one piece of the puzzle. Plenty of other car companies produce way more cars than Tesla, but are nowhere on generalized self-driving. Elon's post was in response to John Carmack. He believes that by 2030, completely autonomous self-driving cars will be commercially available for passenger use in major cities. He made this bet back in 2022. Tesla full self-driving has made significant strides in the last year, and I am feeling very confident about this bet. I have made multiple 2-hour drives without touching the wheel. And this guy knows about AGI, and he got quite a following on X. He explains why he himself did not pursue self-driving efforts. There was uncertainty that working in all the possible situations might be an AGI complete problem. You work almost everything out, but you just can't get that crucial last bit reliable enough. I now think they will be able to data it across the finish line without any research breakthroughs. Move fast and break things really is the most effective way to build new things, and that just isn't an option with passengers on public roads. He complained, however, that for the latest Tesla FSD version, you have to have your hands on the wheel if you are wearing sunglasses. But we just got an announcement that with FSD v12.5, you will no longer have to keep your hands on the wheel even with the sunglasses on. That's actually pretty big news, because that means that Tesla really is incredibly confident that this next version is going to be substantially better again. And we have some important news here. Ashok, who's basically in charge of Tesla's FSD development, said, if you liked V12.4, you're gonna love V12.5. And Elon replied to this, please roll it out as soon as possible. Most of FSD users are still on V12.3.6. And Elon said, V12.5 will feel amazing compared to this 12.3.6 version. So I think it's likely that V12.4 is not really going to roll out further, and that we will go directly to V12.5. And it is likely to come out anytime. It's just how fast is it going to go wide? Someone reposted this Elon Musk post from years ago. This is from 2016, where Elon said in 2 years, someone should work anywhere connected by land and not blocked by borders. And now it's 6 years later, and all they have is the most advanced self-driving system in the world that can drive from LA to New York under human supervision. What a failure is that? And James Dama literally says, my car just drove me from San Francisco to LA. I just sat there with my hands in my lap and watched the road for 6.5 hours. It felt unreal. That sounds like no takeovers? Oh, it actually gets better. Not only no takeovers, 0 interventions as far as James recalls. James says, I wasn't trying for 0 interventions, so not consciously keeping track, was listening to an audiobook, but I can't think of any aside from manually disengaging FSD before choosing the charging stall I wanted and letting Autopilot put the car in it. But he explains, I definitely wouldn't claim it's robotaxi ready as of V12.4.3, it still needs work. But I've had many intervention-free LA to San Francisco drives, and this is the first one where I really felt like a passenger. Something about not keeping a hand on the wheel changes the experience. It's hard to describe. Omar says Elon lied to the public about Tesla producing fully autonomous vehicles by 2021 and then delivered nothing. Oh wait, sorry, I got mixed up. He says it was actually every other company that promised and failed to deliver autonomy, while the Tesla AI team brought FSD to millions of users. Here's Ford. They said Ford targets fully autonomous vehicle for ride sharing in 2021. Oh, but don't worry, they delayed it to 2022, citing delays due to the coronavirus pandemic. Volkswagen tried too, they failed. Toyota tried too. They put $2.8 billion into this self-driving car company, which would operate under different rules, like a startup. Here's Nissan trying too. Don't forget Mercedes. And BMW. They were also aiming for 2021. So it's funny how people are attacking the Tesla AI team but downplaying their achievements and never seeming to attack these other companies. Remember that GM said cars with no steering wheels or pedals will be ready for streets in 2019. I think there's a bit of a point in here. If you make wrong predictions and just give up, no one will care. If you keep progressing, everyone loses their minds. Tesla stock takes over 10% of ARK Invest's portfolio, and that's why ARK Invest just sold a little bit more Tesla stock lot, not much, just a tiny little bit more. And they bought CrowdStrike, the company responsible for all of these outages recently. Tesla is offering more incentives to get FSD. For example, if you already have enhanced autopilot, you can get a $1,000 discount as long as you take delivery by September 30th. I've seen a few posts like this, and if you really look at this, you will see a few things. This is a Cybertruck, as you can see from this window right here, but the steering wheel is taken from maybe a Model 3, so it's not an authentic Cybertruck steering wheel, and this is definitely Photoshop. Why? Because Tesla does not run on Windows, and this is Windows. Teslas run on a Linux variant. But we Canadians are getting some good news. Canada has granted Tesla an exemption for the Cybertruck, allowing the company to use steer-by-wire. So we are finally going to see some Cybertrucks over here as well. And Tesla reiterated that they still think they will get the Cybertruck into the Canadian market this year. So this is definitely good news. A Tesla supplier has been approved to build a $28 million facility near the EV maker's Gigafactory, Texas. This company produces actuators, motors, and other controller devices for automotive companies, including Tesla. It's a Korean company. Tesla Giga Berlin's IT problems have been resolved, normalizing production. This has been reported by RBB. Earlier, Tesla said that production was partially affected. The reason is that data on the cars to be produced is stored in the cloud. But by 2:45 p.m., everything was solved and production was back to normal. In Europe, the Tesla Model Y is the only BEV in the top 25 best-selling models in Europe. But like Roland points out, it is no longer the #1 best-selling vehicle like it was the last year. But even if Tesla maintained the exact same volume as they had last year, it wouldn't be #1. This vehicle would be #1. However, if you think about it, if you do any deeper research about the Model Y, you will quickly realize, there's going to be a new one like really soon. So if you can wait and buy later, I think most people will choose to do that. So that is definitely hurting Tesla sales. But also, some EV incentives have been removed in Europe, and that also definitely hurts Tesla sales. And here's one big positive reason for the reduction of sales. Look at the Tesla Model 3. The sales actually this year have increased on the Model 3. I think that's primarily because of the refresh. And when you show the customer, hey, look, you can get a Model 3 like this one, or you can get a Model Y. You don't even need to do any research at all to realize, this is already a bit old and this is going to be refreshed, obviously, just like this just was. So it's not surprising to see this in Europe. It's actually more surprising to me that in other countries, Model Y sales are not down more. But if you have tried a Model Y, I mean, it's an amazing car, so it's no wonder why it's selling so well despite the refresh being on the corner. And Tesla is actually offering more promotions now in New Zealand as well. You can get this financing deal of just 2%. The next big growth spurt for Tesla is going to be when Tesla launches a new model, which is coming soon. James just published his earnings forecast, and we want to pay attention to this one because looking at his track record, he actually not only beat the Wall Street consensus earlier, but he's actually the #1 most accurate retail Tesla stock analyst when it comes to earnings per share specifically. And it wasn't just one time, this is over many quarters. So he expects flat quarter-over-quarter average selling price. He explains why here. He does provide quite a bit of detail here. And here are his thoughts about Tesla's energy business. Of course, we have much higher deployments, but it's not that simple to model, he thinks, because Tesla has been lowering prices over time and the price per megawatt hour is going to keep falling. In parallel, lithium prices in China keep falling. He says, my assumption assumes the price cost cuts relatively offset one another. Margin stays flat in the low mid-20s. So he thinks gross margin will move down from 24.6% to 23% in the energy business. I think down is more likely because Tesla would still be working through 2023 backlog in Q2 2024 when lithium prices were still higher. Cost decreases will accelerate over time, but so do price cuts. He lists the price cuts here, but as price cuts happen, demand will increase substantially as well. And James predicts that Tesla CPS is going to be at 59 cents per share. And this is his final number. So he is below Wall Street. Wall Street estimates that Tesla will deliver 6 62 cents per share. On the automotive gross margin, he says, I think there may be more risk to the downside for two reasons. This is the first quarter that Tesla has significant sales with 1% financing in the US. I could be underestimating the impact on average selling price. I think the risk that I underestimate the impact is greater than the risk of overestimating the impact. And then number two, Cybertruck production costs. More production this quarter means lower production costs per truck, but I may be underestimating the impact on average cost per vehicle because the percentage of Cybertrucks delivered in Q2 is higher than Q1. I assume this impact is offset by the lower cost per Cybertruck, but there is risk that it isn't. And then layoffs. Restructuring costs should be excluded from non-GAAP EPS, but James points out that's not how this expense was managed the last time Tesla had it in Q2 2022. It was included. I saw this post going around on X. Elon is a pathological liar, but many trust his every word and are too lazy to do a simple search to verify what he says. And he got this post from Elon saying Tesla currently has a tax credit disadvantage because the $7,500 tax credit stopped applying to us years ago. And currently, of course, Tesla is getting the $7,500 tax credit. But at the time when Elon said that, it was actually true. Later, the law was enacted which gave the credit back to Tesla. Lately, Elon Musk has been making a lot of political posts, and Gary Black says, in my opinion, the vast majority of Elon's political rants are irrelevant, i.e. do not impact Tesla's brand equity. Whether he endorses this or that candidate or some other person at the top of the ticket does not impact Tesla brand equity or the customer purchase decision. What drives Tesla's stock price is earnings, and what drives earnings is EV volumes, price, and auto gross margins. Oh, and this time, Gary Black actually mentioned Tesla's energy business. Usually, he doesn't even mention it in posts like that, but this time he did. Energy storage helps as it becomes a bigger percentage of Tesla's earnings. With this part, I disagree with it so much. I don't put much incremental value on autonomy because to me it's increasingly a cost of doing business that every automaker will ultimately offer, by licensing it from Tesla. Because of Tesla's lack of marketing power and regulators' reluctance to give Tesla a first mover advantage over other automakers, I don't view autonomy as an incremental Tesla valuation driver. It does separate FSD as a valuation driver at a 15% global take rate, increasing to 20% by 2030, which accounts for 10% of Gary Black's price target. Speaking about political rants, James says, the damage is done. It was done in 2022 and 2023. I can buy the argument that his political rants don't matter as much now, but that is different from they don't matter at all. Ford has canceled its plans to go all electric in the European market by 2030, saying that it was too ambitious. I don't think we can go all in on anything until our customers decide they're all in. Yeah, for Ford, it is definitely too ambitious, but it's a bit like cell phone companies in 2007 saying, I don't think we can go all in on smartphones until our customers say so. Wow, well, this is one of the crazier things I've seen. 25,000 Mercedes employees demand recognition for the insolence. Mercedes is planning to sell 80 car dealerships in Germany, and 25,000 employees across Germany have protested against it. Their fear is worse working conditions at the new employer, which is why they are demanding severance pay. And it's quite something. $60,000 or euro lump sum per person plus up to 60 months of gross salaries. So at 5,000 monthly salary, that would be up to 360,000 euros per person. With such headwinds, no wonder why Mercedes is having a hard time. Wow, someone is using a Cybertruck to make a wedding entrance, and it looks pretty cool. And now on to today's last segment. I will keep this strictly just about Elon Musk and electric cars, and the former president just talked about both.
And you know, Elon, I love Elon Musk. Do we love him? I love him. And I'm constantly talking about electric cars, but I don't mean I'm against, I'm totally for them, but whatever the market says, and if it's 10% of the market, 12%, 7%, 20%, whatever it is, it's okay. But you can't have 100% electric cars. And you know, so Elon endorsed me recently, the other day, actually. He's great. Elon Musk. He's a brilliant guy. Every time I call him, he's talking about, I got a new idea for a rocket. You have to hear this? No, it's true. You know, the first time I ever saw this, I'm watching television like 3 years ago, and I see a rocket engine, motor engine, come down landing, straight up in, no wings, no nothing, and it's landing. I thought I was seeing things. What is that? And it's landing on a barge in the middle of the ocean. And then another one comes down, and another one. I guess 4 of them came down, 3 or 4, and they land upright. I said, what the hell was that? I've never seen that before. Now, if that were government, you wouldn't see that for another 50 to 100 years. But it was Elon. Now, think of that. And I called him, and I've always had a good relationship with him, but I called him and I said, what was that? He said, well, we saved the engines. We saved the engines because it's very expensive to build. So, I mean, it didn't take me long to figure that if you save them, that's good, but who the hell thought you could do that? No wings, no nothing, just like these big, long, massive tubes, and they're landing gently right on the dot. I said, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. And you say, how long would it take government to come up with that one? I don't think they ever heard of it. Perhaps they still haven't heard of it. But, you know, he's a very advanced person, and he's doing other things that are great, and so are others. We have to make life good for our smart people, you know? We have some smart people. We have to make life good for our smart people. And he's as smart as you get. But Elon endorsed me the other day, and I didn't even know this. He didn't even tell me about it. But he gives me $45 million a month. A month. Not 45 million. Gives me 45 million a month. And I talked to him just a little while ago to say I was coming here, how you doing? And he didn't even mention it. He didn't mention. I mean, other guys, they give you $2 and you got to take them to lunch. You got to wine them, dine them.
Elon has denied pledging $45 million per month. He explained he did create a PAC that is focused on supporting candidates who favor a meritocracy and personal freedom, and that funding to date has been less than $45 million per month. I think this makes sense. I could see the PAC running ads supportive of the former president, but that is not the same thing as writing a check to the former president and letting them spend that money however they like for the campaign. This is you spending money to get your message out, not giving to a candidate to help them get their message out. There is a difference. It is rather subtle, but there is a difference. And of course, this super PAC is not going to support the other side because they made Elon public enemy number 1. How dare our favorite punching bag not vote for us?
No, he's a great guy, he really is. But, you know, he's never mentioned to me, why are you hitting the electric cars? Because he understands I'm not hitting it. I think it's incredible. I've had them, I've driven them, they're incredible. But they're not for everybody. Some people have to drive long distances. And they tend to be more expensive. And, you know, they'll probably be made in China because China has all of that material.
When Elon Musk talks to the former president, I really hope that he mentions that Teslas are the most American-made vehicles. I think the former president would actually really like it. But I haven't seen anything suggesting that Elon Musk actually did say that. It would be great to hear from Elon saying that he did mention it to the former president. I do think that the biggest competition for Tesla is going to be from China, so it really will be Tesla and then Chinese companies. The cost of EVs, of course, is going to come down, so that's only a short-term concern. And for materials, we actually don't need China. Most lithium mining actually happens in Australia and in Chile, and Tesla can access both of these locations without issues. It's just that refining right now is dominated by China, but we can change that. Tesla is building a lithium refinery in the USA, so we know that all of it is doable. That's it for this video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and a big thanks goes to all of my Patreon supporters. By joining Patreon, you will have access to all of my exclusive videos on Patreon, as well as how much I am willing to pay for each Tesla share between 2024 and 2033. If you join the investor tier, you will also have access to my valuation model, where you will see all of my assumptions, including deliveries, the energy business, Tesla's future businesses like FSD, and of course much more. And then if you want to easily download that and put in your own numbers, then this third tier is for you. To all of my Patreon supporters, thank you so much. Make sure to like the video and subscribe if you haven't yet as well. It's really important to like the videos because that makes it less likely that the channel will be shadow banned later, like my other big channel got shadow banned before from about 50% of my regular viewers. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.